biggest thing stopping you from leveling up in your own life is yourself. Sounds weird, but more specifically, it's the version of yourself that you're clinging on to and not letting yourself move past. You might be claiming to just be yourself, which everybody tells you to be doing, but in reality, you're trapped in a version of yourself that doesn't even serve you anymore. The first thing you need to do to start being more confident is to realize confidence isn't something you're just born with, it's something that you can acquire. You create it yourself. The problem is that most people try to just force themselves to be confident, which doesn't even make sense, instead of stepping into an identity that's just naturally confident. So what I'm going to be talking about in this video is something called the alter ego effect, which you might have heard of, you might not have heard of. I didn't hear about it until a few years ago. Whenever I first learned about it, I thought it was so interesting, and I tried it out for myself, so I'm just going to explain it to you. To sum it up, it's basically a psychological tool that like people who are really, top performers or famous people use to step into like the peak version of themselves. So the way I learned about it was from a book called The Alter Ego Effect by, I think his name's Todd Herman. And he describes the alter ego as a strategic identity. It's a version of yourself that has all the traits and qualities that you need to succeed in whatever you're trying to succeed in. So I'll give you two examples of this. I'm sure you know Beyonce and Kobe Bryant. So Beyonce, whenever she was like first getting like famous and everything, she had stage fright, like really bad stage fright apparently, and she made an alter ego called Sasha Fierce, where she would go into that alter ego whenever she went on stage to perform to get over her stage fright. And then Kobe Bryant, if you know anything about basketball, he had a alter ego called the Black Mamba, and that was the ego he'd go into to be like super aggressive and just dominate the basketball court and make everybody basically just be scared of the dude because he was a freak. Like I wouldn't want to be up against him. The reason the Black Mamba ego, that dude would kill me. So those were the two. That's like two examples of people using the alter ego. And another one is you can think of Superman. Clark Kent turns into Superman, and then Batman and Bruce Wayne, like it's different alter egos. Like Bruce Wayne doesn't act like Batman whenever he's outside of the suit. And the key thing here, understanding, is that the alter ego isn't fake. It's basically like a split personality in a sense, but it's an untapped version of yourself that you're given permission to take control. And I have a few examples of how I do this myself, but I'm going to get more into that later whenever I'm explaining how to build your own alter ego, so I'm going to wait for a little bit to explain that. But I'm going to explain the science and the mindset shifts a little bit before I do that. So there are studies, psychological studies, that show when you embody different identities, it can skyrocket your confidence, resilience, performance, like all things, honestly. Depending on the identity, it could really just be anything. The example I'm going to give, I saw this a long time ago, so I don't have like a link to the study or anything, but it was talking about children who were asked to play as Batman perform better on problem-solving tasks. So like they were given tasks to solve a problem, obviously like for problem-solving tasks. They were given tasks like that, and them pretending to be Batman made them better at those tasks than whenever they're just being themselves, which is so weird to think about. Like they're pretending to be Batman, and they're kind of getting part of his qualities from it, which is so weird, but it's cool to think about it that way. Your mind follows the identity that you assign to it and to yourself. If you change the identity, the results will change immediately too. And this kind of all goes hand in hand with self-image and how you see yourself. That's why it's so powerful, because it's like basically just flipping a switch and fully changing your self-image, which is, again, really weird to think about, but it works. So the way you make your own alter ego is to first identify a situation where you lack confidence. So it can be socializing, dating, your job, fitness, anything like that really. Any situation where you deem yourself lacking, that you think you need change, just picture one of those situations and identify it as this is what you want to work on. Then next, you would define the ideal traits that version of you would have. So is he bold? Is he, courageous, charismatic, friendly, mean when he needs to be? Whatever the traits would be, you identify those. Then you make it really in depth, and the whole point of this is just so you remember it and it makes it more meaningful. It's kind of like doing a routine, how like whenever you establish a habit, it becomes that habit becomes ingrained in your personality. Like if you decide to start going to the gym every day, you have a set time for it. You know at that time of the day you just have to go. That's just who you are. Like I go to the gym every day at 5 o'clock. That's just something I do. So the reason you make this so in depth is for that reason. So the way you do that is you give your alter ego a name, and then you give it a symbol or a trigger. So what that would be, it's like maybe you put on glasses, maybe you put on a ring, maybe it's a certain shirt. You have something that triggers it. It could just be the way you talk. Or it could even be a song you listen to. You just listen to a song whenever you want to go into the ego. And then you can also give it like a backstory. Things like that kind of just puts you in that mindset, and whenever you put it on, hear it, whatever the case, it just immediately triggers that alter ego. And this is where I kind of wanted to put my examples in there. So before I even knew what it was, whenever I was a kid, I was like probably like 8 to like 11, somewhere around there. So I was like really into basketball, and I played a ton. I was really good, and I had my trigger was a lucky pair of underwear. So, this is so nasty. I was a kid, But I had a pair of underwear that I would just never wash, and it was some box. I actually have them in a cabinet. I have like a bunch of my trophies and stuff from like all the sports and stuff I played, and I had my lucky pair of underwear up in there. So if I was like, yeah, you know, I really got to show out for this game, I was putting them lucky underwear on. I was about to go kill it on the court. That was my Black Mamba, was my underwear. If I had those underwear on, you already know I was dropping at least 30 or at least no minimum 20. But you know, I was getting up there. So that's one of my triggers, was my underwear back then. But more recently, whenever I learned about this, now whenever I was practicing on how to be more social and talk to people and just putting myself out there and kind of just be more outgoing, charismatic. So one of my triggers that I came up with, or my friend told me about it actually, but I started doing it and it became my trigger, was whenever I was going somewhere where I knew I was going to be socializing or meeting a lot of people, whatever it was, if I knew it was like a social event and I was kind of like staying out, I didn't know a lot of people, I would do what he called social lubricant, or socially lubricating. And basically what that is whenever I'd be walking to the, I'll use this last weekend for example. I mentioned in a past video that I went to this music event type thing. So it's like a DJ and they play like a certain theme. So it was emo night where they play Fall Out Boy, you know, Blink-182, Green Day, bands like that. And we get out of the car and we're walking there. It's probably like a mile walk to get to the venue. And as we're walking, everybody walks by, I'm like, yo, how you doing? What's up, man? I'm fun with people, just random people. I'm just saying shit to, just because I know I'm about to go somewhere where it's really social and I want to be meeting people, talking to people. So as I'm on the way there, I'm just saying what's up to everybody. Like, yo, what you doing, man? How you doing? You having a good night? I like your necklace. Like they're wearing like light up glow stick necklaces. I'm talking about like their necklace, like giving them compliments, things like that. And doing that puts me in a mindset of like, oh, I'm getting social, I'm getting ready to go and do this. And that's whenever that alter ego comes out, where it's like, okay, this is the version of Devin that goes out and parties, meets everybody, gets everybody hyped up, likes to, you know, just like to meet everybody. And that's how I like to be at those types of places. I like to be the guy who just knows everybody. It's like I'll go in those places and off rip, I'll meet like 2 people and I'll talk to them, they'll be like, all right, I'll see y'all later. Whenever I see y'all, I'm gonna say what's up. And so whenever I see them later that night, I'll be like, yo, what's up? Dylan, whatever their name is. And so whenever I say that, they get a little excited. So I'll start meeting everybody. Anyways, that's off topic. But that's one of my little cues to go into that alter ego of just being the more socially version of myself, and I can do it wherever I want to. Now, whenever you step into that situation, you want to activate that alter ego immediately. You don't want to wait to feel it. You fully step into it and become it. Just let it happen. So the way you use this in life is by, instead of trying to be confident or fake it until you make it, just step into the identity that it actually is. Be the version of yourself that you know you can be, that you already have inside of you, that you just haven't realized yet, and just realize, okay, this is who I am. Let me activate it. And then boom. The moment you embody your alter ego, the hesitation disappears. And I've experienced it myself, so I know you can. And I know deep down, if you're an insecure person, you have the ability to be confident. It just takes time, steps, or just embodying it, becoming it. And I've done it with my life. I was one of the most insecure people that I know. And doing this, doing a lot of other things too. I made other videos about it. But doing these things have helped me be just super confident in myself and about my daily life. I'm just different man, honestly. Like I wouldn't recognize myself 2 years ago compared to now. Even I couldn't imagine myself in high school talking to myself then. And obviously time helps with that in general. But I feel like I've made a lot more progress than the average person would. And this isn't pretending. It's revealing a hidden version of yourself that's been there. You just didn't know how to step into it. So if you've been struggling with confidence, stop pretending to be confident and just become it. Give yourself permission to step into the role that already knows how to win. Because it's inside of you, it's inside of me, it's inside of all of us. You know how to do it, you step into it. But got any value from this video? Appreciate you subscribe. And besides that, I'll see you in the next one.